Captain Marcus Chun had survived 3 alien wars, 2 diplomatic disasters, and 1 very awkward incident involving a sentient plant species that mistook him for fertilizer. He had not, however, prepared for this. The Valdorian Empress Zara Thel stood before him in her crystalline throne room, her 6 arms gesticulating wildly as she spoke in rapid musical tones. Her translator device struggled to keep up with her passionate declarations. "You cannot leave." The mechanical voice finally caught up. "The stars themselves have aligned to bring you to me, Captain Chun of the Terran Republic." Marcus shifted, uncomfortably in his restraints, though restraints was perhaps too harsh a word for the silk-soft energy bonds that held him to the ornate chair. They were more like very insistent suggestions that he remain seated. "Your Majesty," he began. "Carefully, I appreciate the hospitality, truly. But my ship needs repairs, my crew needs medical attention, and Earth Command expects a report on our diplomatic mission." Zarathel's 4 eyes, 2 large primary ones and 2 smaller secondary ones, all focused on him with an intensity that made him squirm. Her scales shimmered from deep purple to bright gold, which his cultural briefing had indicated meant either extreme happiness or preparation for battle. Given the circumstances, he hoped for the former. Repairs? She waved dismissively. With 3 arms, while the 4th traced patterns in the air that materialized as holographic blueprints. "Your primitive vessel will be upgraded with Valdorian quantum drives. Medical attention? My finest healers attend your crew as we speak. And Earth Command." She paused, her scales shifting to an amused silver. "They may wait. Love conquers all temporal concerns." The word love hit Marcus like a photon torpedo. He'd been hoping this was all an elaborate cultural misunderstanding. Unfortunately, his translation software had been quite clear on that particular term. "Your Majesty, we've only known each other for 3 hours." 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 42 seconds, she corrected with mathematical precision. Long enough to recognize a soulmate across the vast cosmos. Marcus had to admit, despite the rather dramatic circumstances, that Empress Zarathil was remarkable. She had united 7 warring species under her rule not through conquest, but through her brilliant innovations in interspecies communication and resource sharing. Her empire spanned 12 solar systems and was renowned for its scientific achievements and cultural renaissance. She was also, quite obviously, completely infatuated with him. "The moment you stepped from your vessel," she continued, now pacing with all 6 arms animated, speaking our formal greeting with such endearing grammatical errors, presenting gifts of Earth Cocoa with the solemn dignity of a cosmic treaty I knew the universe had delivered my perfect match. Marcus winced, remembering how he'd accidentally proposed marriage while trying to request docking permission. Human vocal cords weren't designed for Valdorian ceremonial language. "The grammatical errors were accidental," he protested weakly. "Charmingly humble," she exclaimed, clasping 2 hands to her chest while the others painted swirling joy patterns in the air. "This is why humans fascinate us. Your species stumbles into greatness while insisting it was mere coincidence." She gestured to the massive viewing screen that dominated one wall. Images flashed by, human ships rescuing stranded alien colonies, human diplomats mediating century-old conflicts, human scientists sharing breakthrough technologies freely across the galaxy. "Other species conquer through strength or cunning," Zarathil said, her voice growing reverent. "Humans conquer through this thing you call stubborn kindness. You refuse to abandon anyone, even former enemies. You share your discoveries instead of hoarding them. You apologize for your mistakes and then fix them, usually better than they were before." Marcus found himself oddly touched by her perspective. Humans had always seemed fairly ordinary to him, just doing what needed to be done. "Where?" "Not that special," he said. "There?" She pointed all 6 arms at him triumphantly. "That response proves my point. Any other species would have agreed emphatically, then demanded tribute for their magnificence. But you deflect praise and focus on work that needs doing." She moved closer, her scales shifting to warm gold tones. Do you know what you did during the docking procedure? My sensors detected 17 minor system failures on your ship. Instead of mentioning them, you spent the entire approach sequence checking that your damaged vessel wouldn't leak atmosphere into my docking bay and harm my people. Marcus blinked. Well, yes, that's standard safety protocol. Standard for humans, perhaps. Revolutionary for everyone else. She settled gracefully onto a nearby crystalline bench, suddenly looking vulnerable despite her regal bearing. I have ruled for 47 years, Captain Chun. I have been courted by warrior princes and philosopher kings. They offered me conquests, treasures, exotic technologies. You offered to help my maintenance crew clean up a coolant spill. It was just the right thing to do, she finished softly. Yes, always, with humans, it is simply the right thing to do. Marcus felt his resolve, wavering. When she put it like that, her fascination almost made sense. Almost? Your Majesty Zarathil, I'm honored by your feelings. Truly, but I have responsibilities. My crew, my mission. Bring them all, she said, brightening immediately. Your crew will want for nothing. Your missions can be expanded into empire-wide diplomatic ventures. And you. She smiled, revealing teeth like polished pearls. You can continue being impossibly, wonderfully human while helping me rule the greatest civilization in the galaxy. Marcus opened his mouth to refuse, then paused. His crew had been through hell on this mission. Earth's colonies were struggling with resource shortages, and the Valdorian Empire could offer technological advances that would benefit billions. I need to discuss this with my crew, he said carefully. Zarathil's scales rippled with pleased satisfaction, of course. The human who would make decisions without consulting his companions would not be the human I fell in love with. The energy bonds released him, and Marcus stood, rubbing his wrists. Captain, she said, as he reached the door, when you confer with your crew, remember this. Love aside, you have stumbled into an opportunity to advance human interests by centuries. Sometimes the universe places us exactly where we need to be, whether we planned it or not. Marcus paused at the threshold. Through the vast windows, he could see human and Valdorian engineers working side by side on his ship, sharing techniques and laughing at universal jokes about stubborn bolts and recalcitrant circuits. Maybe, just maybe, the universe had a point. Ill. Consider all aspects of the situation, he said diplomatically. Zarathil's scales shimmered with pure joy. That is all I ask. After all, the best human decisions are always the ones you make together. As the door sealed behind him, Marcus couldn't help but smile. Somehow, even while being romantically kidnapped by an alien empress, he managed to find someone who understood humans better than most humans did. The universe, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor and impeccable timing.